Hi everyone, welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow. I am an integrative holistic therapist, intuitive shaman, interfaith minister, and evangelist with over 30 years of experience in the healing field, and that's here and internationally. Today's topic is a challenging one. It's the power of gratitude. Now, I can honestly say that in these challenging times that we have presently, it is not easy to be grateful. A lot of times you can say, oh, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for having a roof over my head. You know, you're grateful for those things. But in these adverse times, it's really, really hard to just be grateful for those things, because we want to be able to live well. We want to be able to, you know, there's striving and then there's thriving, right? So where does that come? You know, where does that come in? So in working with gratitude, I have had to really sit and meditate with this topic. And things are challenging, not for just myself, but I'm sure for all of us. We all have our challenges and our adversities that are happening presently, day to day. You know, you have this with work, your job, you know, the weather, whatever it may be. There's so many different things that are affecting you in a huge way. So it's not easy to be grateful. It's not easy to practice gratitude. So this is all the more reason for me to bring this topic in, because as challenging as it is and how it has been, it's the perfect time to have this topic. And I myself, I've always been more at facing what's going on and being part of the solution as opposed to being part of the problem. So facing your demons, or facing what's happening, facing the adversity, and being actively or proactively charged in making it better is so much better than sticking your head in the sand and forgetting about it. So with the power of gratitude, let's think about that for a second. There could be a lot of things that you're grateful for. And I'm sure all of us have many things to be grateful for. Sometimes you have to dig deep to find that gratitude. Sometimes you have to go further down, deep within yourself, deep within your surroundings, deep within your history, deep within your everyday, to find those parts to be grateful for. Having a gratitude journal, that's really important. Being able to write it down, being able to be mindful of it. And I know you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing me talk about mindfulness, but mindfulness is really such a power and a gift. The more mindful you are, the more apt you are able to change things, to make things better, to cause massive change into your life. So that being said, being grateful is one of those tools that you really need to look at on a, whether it be a daily basis or a weekly basis, whichever. Sometimes it's just good to kind of take stock of what's going on in your life. All of us, even when things are as challenging as they are, for you to find that gratitude that makes it that much more powerful to connect with that. And I have found recently there are many things that I've been grateful for, and that's going to be coming up more towards the end of the broadcast. But what are you guys grateful for? What have you found that you're grateful for? Feel free to share. I'd love to hear it. Okay, Chrissy's saying my kid's not using drugs, not stealing. Say that's a big thing to be grateful for, right? Your kid's turning out to be good people, good human beings, good souls. That's important. Being grateful to being able to provide for my family. And I can honestly say from what I know of you, Alfredo, that you really put your all, 150% in being able to provide for your family, mind, body, and spirit. So I have to give you that. And I give you a lot of props for that. And Carlos is saying that I am grateful for every relationship I ever had, which taught me to create new relationships. Definitely. That's a big thing. It's a big thing to be grateful for, because we are all souls having a human experience, correct? So that's a big thing to be grateful for. And gratitude it's not easy. It's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. Because when things are going really hard and really tough, and believe me, I can honestly say this, presently, to connect with gratitude when you feel like, you're in fetal position, getting kicked in the face sometimes, it's hard. It's hard to think about that for a second. It's hard to say, okay, things are really difficult. I'm away from loved ones, or I'm in a job I don't appreciate, something like that. It's hard to be grateful. It's hard to be grateful for those little things. And Chrissy's sharing here, my son helped a girl from being fondled, and the police asked if they could help him out. He almost broke his nose. Yeah, see? And he stepped in, being a good Samaritan. That's huge. That's huge. And this is really the purpose of why I come here every week to provide my show, because we all connect. We all take that time to be mindful, to connect weekly, and to share our stories with each other. And that's huge, and that's huge. And without your stories, and without, it's all something where this is part of why I appreciate everyone coming and making the time every week, because you're sharing your story. You're sharing your experiences. We all come here, on Mondays, on Moon Day, to share our experiences, and to share our spirit, and to share our lessons, and to help guide and teach each other and learn from each other. So that's something to be grateful for as well. And again, and the great thing about gratitude is the ability to be grateful for everyone's differences. We all have different personalities. We all have different viewpoints. We all have different perceptions of how we see the world. So my take on gratitude may not be the same view as Marissa or Alfredo or Carlos or Chrissy or Terry. There may be a whole different thing. But with all our different viewpoints and all our different perspectives on gratitude, you can learn something new. You could bring in some new energy, some new juju into your life, and look at that and say, okay, interesting. Chrissy was grateful about this. I haven't really thought about being grateful for that. I never thought about it from that perspective. And that's really, really important. And Marissa's sharing here, gratitude opens the door to the power, to the wisdom, and the creativity of the universe. And that is a quote from Deepak Chopra. And you know what? I will channel my inner Deepak very often. And I'll even go into a Deepak voice every now and then, because he's very, very wise. And he's humble. And that's what I like about a lot of these big influencers and people these authors they're really amazing people. And they share their wisdom as well. Yes, he's awesome. He is awesome. And also too, like Anthony Robbins as well. Seeing him in different interviews, from reading his books and looking at it, at what he has to offer, as well as him sharing his story, it's really cool because he's sharing a real authentic view. And you hear people, you know, in marketing, you hear them using authentic and genuine and all that stuff. I'm not talking about catchphrases and hashtags here. I'm talking about legitimately just being really you. So a lot of you have spoken to me other than being on the show. You'll know that what you see is what you get. And a lot of these other people that, like Deepak Chopra, whether there's 5,000 people, there's one, whether you have a conversation, Dalai Lama is also one of those great spirited people. I've seen him in intimate gatherings, and there's no difference between who he is. And he is a big catalyst for compassion and gratitude, and you being optimally you and authentic. So that's so important. So with this whole topic of gratitude opens up a lot. And that also brings you to become more part of the solution, part of being a bright spot in the world. And the past few shows, you've noticed that there have been a lot of current events, a lot of things that have been happening. Welcome, Andrew. A lot of things have been happening that the world's kind of gone to hell in a handbasket. But there is that few, you know, there is the, and I'm not going to say few, I'm going to say the many, because there are a lot of us in the world that are spread across the planet, that we focus on mindfulness and we focus on being the best people that we can be to share, you know? Yeah. No, he wasn't. But yeah, there was a rapper named Tupac, and he was actually very wise as well, but two completely different people. So it's all good. It's all good. Just a different spelling. But equally large influencing people, though, in the world. So I will have to say that for sure. But there are many. There are a lot of us. You don't have to be a best-selling author to influence the world. You also don't have to be someone huge to be able to influence and to be able to be grateful. You know, this is now the 27th episode of Insight with Moonshadow, and I can't say that, you know, I can't reach out or be appreciative enough for everyone coming in on a regular basis and taking the time out. So that's another thing that I'm very grateful for. So really, we all have something to share, and we all have things to be grateful for, even though we may not like the way things are presently, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, physically, politically. There's a lot to kind of not be happy about. But if we focus on the gratitude, if we focus on that, even if it's just for a moment, if you focus on what you're grateful for at that moment, it kind of lightens the load a little bit, even if it's for a little while. And that is also another part of it too. You can go ahead, having like a gratitude journal. You know, I actually have a couple of different journals that I should be better at doing regularly and writing in regularly. But I have a journal that's just a journal, just rant and spout crap in. And, you know, sometimes that's just a loose leaf. And I just take that piece of paper and I'm like, you know, okay, I'm done. And I light it and it's gone. So I can free up for bigger and better things. So better juju or better energy into my life. And then there are other times I just write it and I don't go back to reading it. Exactly. And it's not something to be concerned about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, because we don't have any control of the past. The past is done. So all we have is the present. All we have is the right now, which may also be another topic down the road as well. Oh, okay. So Carlos for him it was the opposite. It was his creativity that opened up the door to gratitude. I can honestly say a lot of reasons why I've opened up to gratitude now, presently, today. A lot of it is because of all of you. A lot of it is because of me being able to share my story and my gifts and my trials and tribulations in my show every week for 27 weeks. You know, today is actually yesterday was my 200th day on Blab. So I am 201 days old here. But that's what opened up things for me for gratitude, is the fact of finding people that I could consider part of my tribe. And that's not easy. That's not easy because we're all different. We're all unique. You know, even people that are conditioned or consist of society, they're all unique and they're all their own individual selves. So just because they choose to follow blindly or mindfully, whichever it may be, we're all unique. So even with that, even with that, and thank you, Chrissy, for yesterday. She wished me a happy Blab Earth Day yesterday. So I appreciate that. I didn't have a big deal about it, but maybe the after party today we'll do that and have a 200th thing, a shindig a little bit. But this is all part of gratitude and being open to gratitude. It's not always easy. And I'm going to tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy to be grateful, especially with the way the world is today. It's just not that easy. But to ground yourself and really think about it, and instead of falling into the trap of getting sucked into the negative minutia of life, but to actually see the joy in some things, some joy in the simplicity of certain things, the gratitude of just a connection or connecting with certain people. Welcome, Dawn Marie. Being connected to people that appreciate you and have your back and support you. That's a big deal. That's something to be grateful about too. So with all of that, you know, it just takes, sometimes it takes more effort to be grateful. And this is one of the big reasons why I brought the power of gratitude today with today's show, because it was that much harder for me to do this show. So I had to really do some thinking about this. And just think about this for a second. Everyone here, just think about this for a second. How easy or hard is it to find gratitude? You know, do we make enough? Are we happy enough? Are we content enough in our lives to say that we've got a bunch of things to be grateful for? And it took me some time to really think on it. It really took a good amount of time. And I guess maybe that's why it was problematic for the whole scheduling thing, because it made me really think about gratitude in the grand scheme. So if you think about that for a second, it's powerful stuff. Now, Janus is saying, recently I've been reminded of cultivating gratitude and compassion. It's part of the set of things to, it's part of a set of things to cultivate. Absolutely. And compassion, you know what? I'll tell you, in the world today, what's going on right now, it's not about compassion. People are losing the plot right now. It is not going well. So do we need to provide a little more compassion? Absolutely. Do we need to cultivate more gratitude and be able to reach out to people and to say, I appreciate you, or how can I help, or what can I do to change the system, or how can we rebel in a positive, profound way to make changes in the world? All these things are really, really important. All these things are cultivating more positive energy, more positive juju, more positive influence. And if you really think about it, this is all important. And all of you have heard me say this before, but it's harder to be a positive person nowadays. It's harder to be mindful. It's harder to focus on the positive, especially with so much going on. You turn on the news for 30 seconds, there's all this negativity, and it's hard to rein that in and say, hey, I am grateful that it's not happening to me, but also cultivating compassion to be able to say, well, I wish I could do something to help someone else, or I send, good energy, good healing juju to those places in the world. So that's all really, really important. So now Chrissy is sharing, I was digging up potatoes and picking up sugar snaps, peas, and I gave 3 pounds of clean potatoes to my neighbor and a bag of peas, and she had the family coming over, and she was very grateful, which made her happy. Welcome, Jane. But see, this is the whole thing. This is the whole part of it too, is that in doing that, in doing something for someone else, what was the mental return on that? No, of course I mean it. I am so glad that you're here. I love having new people come in, and I really appreciate you coming in. So absolutely. Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I would rather put energy into actually being appreciative than being blasé about stuff. And you can ask anyone in this room. So I really appreciate you being here. As a matter of fact, I started following you because I sense automatically that you have good juju and good energy. So I really do appreciate you being here. Absolutely. So this is part of it, so with Chrissy, for example, for her digging up potatoes and sugar peas, right? She went through the effort of cleaning the potatoes and doing all that. Now, some people would have been like, I just cleaned 3 pounds of potatoes. Why should I give it to someone else? Why not? Why not give it to somebody else? How many times those 3 pounds of potatoes, they may end up growing a little garden underneath your cupboard, right? So give it to someone that needs it. So that's really important. So that was paying it forward, which I'm a big advocate for. But not only that, that changed Chrissy's energy, and that made her happy that she gave something to someone else. And I think this is also what's kind of missing in the world a bit, is that we don't do that enough. We don't give to others enough, or we're not in service enough to realize the power that we have of helping and making things change. So Chrissy's saying here, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a random act of kindness. Absolutely. There are many times I'd be at a coffee shop and I would just buy someone a coffee randomly. Now, does that $2 or $3 makes a difference? No. Does it hurt me or help me? No. But to see that person all of a sudden smile and go, wow, you didn't have to do that. I'm like, no, I wanted to. I don't know. I know I didn't have to. I wanted to. I hope you have a great day. That's huge. And that's it. And that's true. It doesn't have to be big or little. It's all about just making someone's day. Sometimes just making someone smile. So with Jane, for example, coming in and say, don't welcome me if you don't mean it. I'm glad you challenged me on that, because it's true. Not everyone is authentic enough. They're like, yeah, you know, hey, welcome, whatever. So I appreciate that you came in, and I'm glad you said that, because now that made something. That made an impact. That made an impact between you and I right here, right now. In the now. And that's huge. A lot of people don't do that. Oh, you're actually thinking of wearing your red nose. Yes, I did something for Red Nose Day, and I actually always have my red nose handy. So yes, so this is last year's nose. Well, actually, technically the year before that. But this is my first nose. This is version 1.0, but it's a little stained. But it's important. You know, these are things, like random acts of kindness, being grateful and trying to provoke good energy into your life and into other people's lives is so important. Hey, Chris. Welcome for coming in. Glad you're here. So really, if you think about it, being grateful, utilizing the power of gratitude as often as you can, because I know it's hard and it is difficult to be grateful. But when you do, you lighten your spirit, you uplift yourself, and you can uplift others as well, just by clicking into that mindset, clicking into that frequency, clicking into that vibration, because that way it makes a load of difference. And I can honestly say, over the past few weeks of me being challenged with this, it has made a difference. So is everything perfect? Absolutely not. When is anything perfect? Think about it. But we try to do the best we can. And I'm glad you're wearing your nose, Chrissy. Now, Chrissy is a very, very lighthearted, joyful person, and I'm so glad to always have her pop in, because she's always very lighthearted and jovial. So it's always a pleasure having you in. So with all of this, practicing the art of gratitude, it really makes a huge difference in your world. You know, it really makes a big, huge difference in other people's worlds. And it's even, and when you really got a lot going on, and when it's really, really tough, sometimes that's the time when you really need to kick into that, you know, and focus on that and be mindful of that at the time. Welcome, Evangelos. I'm so glad you made it. And if you do that, if you're focusing on that level, then it does make subtle changes. It could be profound, but it could make that little tiny subtle change, and then it builds and it builds and it builds. Very much kind of like the ripple in the pond effect when you throw a pebble. It's very much within the same thing. So that makes a huge, huge difference too. And Chris saying, I find that food depends, okay, that mood depends on food, water, fitness, and novelty. And I agree with you. And that also matters. But sometimes you can have a full belly and everything can go around that's well in your life, but you're not grateful. How many people do you find that you look at them and it seems like they have it all, but they're not really happy. They're not really grateful. They're always bitching and moaning, and they're always pissing and moaning at what they don't have. but they have more than you and I at the moment, or it seems to be. So does money change everything? No. Does a bigger house change anything? No. It really starts from yourself. And what Chris is saying here is also, when you have it all, you have nothing to fight for. And that's partially true too. But also too, if you have enough adversity, it's really, you know, a little, you know, some more good for a while. It's kind of nice. And there's always something to be grateful for. And I agree with you. Sometimes it's harder to muster that courage, muster that gratitude, build on that. Some days it's just good that you got out of bed. Some days it's good that, you know, out of the 100 things on your to-do list, you get 5 of those things done. So that's something to be grateful for too. So the level of gratitude changes day to day. Chris is saying, I'm grateful for toilets, water, and bread. I am very grateful for bread. Me being European, bread is like a main staple, especially fresh bread. Oh, can't beat it. So all of that makes a huge difference, for sure. Now, Janus is saying, sometimes it's easy to neutralize gratitude with pessimism. It's important to put gratitude into a positive context, not but it. Exactly. And this is the thing. There is a lot of pessimism right now. And I can honestly say, and I shared this, I think it was the last show, last week or the week before, that sometimes when things are the worst, I find that light. I find that little moment to still get up, no matter how hard it is. And believe me, I know I'm not the only person. We all have those moments in time. We all have those little moments in time, or those days where it's like, oh, I just don't have the energy. But if you have the energy to be pessimistic, you have the energy to be optimistic. You have that energy. Welcome, Manny. So that's the thing. So it's like, it's very similar to that old saying, which I'd have to look it up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, because we're all about on the fly. Let's see. Okay, here we go. And this is to the topic as well. In looking at this, it's like the optimist, the pessimist, and the realist, right? And I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, "Dear optimist, pessimist, and realist." While you guys were arguing about the glass of water being half full or half empty, I drank it. The opportunist. So if you really think about it, it's kind of good to be opportunistic in some ways, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. But to see the opportunity, to see the gratitude, to see what's out there. And also too, Chris is saying, I feel that you should communicate that you don't have energy, and people who are bad at doing this the right way will convert it to anger and put it into something. Yeah, it's true. And it all depends on how you look at it and how you vent it and how you project it, for sure. And it does make a huge difference. And I agree with you, Evangelos. He's saying that understanding gratitude is higher self-awareness, and it does make a big difference in one's life. And it does. And it does. Being positive isn't always easy, but it takes a lot of strength and a lot of energy, but it's well worth it. Well worth it. And Chrissy is also saying, and I'm glad this is PG. Chrissy's saying, my dad has always said you have to use a lot of energy to be pissed off. Yes. Also, too, there's also the old adage of it takes more muscles to frown than it is to smile. And it does. That's scientifically proven. So if you really think about it, It does take more to sit there when you see someone that's miserable all the time. It takes a lot of effort, even though the world can be, crap at the moment. It takes a lot of energy to stay in that energy. So it's so much easier to kind of try to uplift yourself on a momentary basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis. Exactly. And it's also the path of least resistance. If you really think about it, when you're clenched up, I will say at times that someone could be emotionally constipated because they're always miserable all the time. They're pessimistic. They're thinking about the negative all the time. And the sun could be shining, life could be good, and they're still going to find something to piss and moan about. And smiling can be contagious, no different than a yawn. And I've done that. Just for the hell of it. I've gone in public places and I've yawned just to see what would happen. And you know what? Try this. There's a little homework for you guys, a little moonsight. Go someplace public and actually yawn. I can guarantee within a very short amount of time, other people are going to yawn too. Well, I didn't get a chance to welcome Samantha, and she left already. But yeah, so this is the thing, and this is something that is fact. It does happen. So it is contagious. So a smile, no different, or gratitude, no different. There are times I've been in the grocery store and I found like a bunch of people kind of, the energy was kind of stagnant, and I go there and do something foolish, absolutely purposefully, intentionally, and then it lightened the energy a little bit. I've actually gone in prior to discovering Red Nose Day. I used to wear a red nose just for the hell of it and walk into a grocery store wearing my red nose and be completely serious. And just seeing from the people watching aspect, if someone was going to be like, wow, you know what I mean? If they're going to it was even going to affect them or not. But being grateful and trying to uplift and trying to change the energy, it is contagious. Absolutely. Well, true. But most people will yawn. Even the people that don't want to yawn, they can yawn. They can still yawn. So yeah. And that's also another that's also something else I utilized as well as a social study little tidbit. I did that too as well. Look at some place and do it a few times, and all of a sudden everyone else is looking too. But this is just proving that we are all influencing individuals. We can change the world one bit at a time, one person at a time, one moment at a time. We could do that. Absolutely. Okay, and Evangelist is saying, mentors had said to me once, if you write down 5 things you're grateful for each day, you will rewire your brain, changing your life forever. And that's the importance of having a gratitude journal. That's the importance of being mindful. And in this world today, it may be difficult to find 5 things, 5 new things. You can write the 5 same things. You can do that. However, if you find 5 new things, that's even more so. That's even more powerful and profound. So this is the power of gratitude. This is the thing, is rewiring your body, rewiring your mind and spirit to saying, okay, you know what? Today, it's really tough to be grateful. What can I be grateful today about? What can I focus on today? Hey, Coco. Welcome. And good seeing you. So in utilizing gratitude and utilizing the power of gratitude, now you're really looking at it. Sometimes the worst days is when I really kind of muster up some good juju and some good energy and smile at people and be kinder to people. And it's almost like a default. It's almost like an automatic thing. It's a natural occurrence. Toilet water bread, mackerel cold cuts. Hey, at least you're practicing gratitude though, Chris. That's an important thing. There are many times that I will say that I don't know whether to laugh or cry. And sometimes I just go hysterical and laugh. And that changes the energy a bit, even for a moment. But this is also part of it. So being grateful that you can lighten things. You know? Hi, Coco. So there's that too. So what can you find? Where can you find gratitude in your life? It's a challenge. And not only do I challenge you, life challenges you. You know, Chris is saying here, I'm grateful I can create depression with words. And you can also change depression into being uplifted with words. You can influence yourself by what you write and how you write. This is just that much more. That's just more the importance of being grateful and utilizing the power of being grateful for what's happening in your life. So what other things are you grateful for? What things can you share that you're grateful for? Are there any techniques that you utilize to be grateful? How do you keep yourself uplifted by using the power of gratitude? How do you do that? If you have anything to share, please feel free to share and throw it in the chat as well. Evangelos is saying, reflect upon our present blessings in the moment that you're alive. Yeah. Now, Jane is saying, maybe it's not a good way, but I found it was very easy to feel grateful when comparing somebody else who has it worse off. My best friend has chronic sleep problems. Well, it's not necessarily a bad way and not necessarily a good way, but it is a way of saying, I'm glad that I'm not experiencing what my friend is experiencing, right? So you can try to offer them techniques or try to say, hey, I thought about you having your chronic sleep stuff going on. So this is what I saw. This is what I researched, or this is what I found, or this is what I read. And Chrissy's saying it's silly, but I always think someone else can have it worse than me. And it's true. There's always someone that has it better than you, and there's always someone that has it worse than you. So why compare? That's why I tend not to compare at all. And Chris is grateful that he can accept mistakes. Now, Coco is saying that I think about all I have and that I am asked to do what so many people can't. True. And gratitude is a currency that we can mint for ourselves and spend without fear of bankruptcy. And I agree with you completely, Evangelos, for that. Now, I jokingly say that I'm a very rich man. I'm independently wealthy when it comes to other things. My wallet's going to represent something slightly different. However, I believe from other aspects and other things and other dynamics and other variables that I am a very rich person. And so are you. You just have to find that wealth. It just depends on where you get it, And Coco's saying, yes, basically the same. And I compare to, and I think about all I didn't have growing up. But see, this is the thing. You wouldn't be who you were now if you weren't who you were then. Right, Coco? So yeah. So that's a big part of it too. So I did say earlier in the broadcast that I was going to, on the record, state what I'm grateful for. And as promised, I will share that. Now, myself, what am I grateful for? I could say that I'm grateful for my health. I can say that I'm grateful for being able to see and walk and do all that. And I am. However, I can also say that I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for all of you coming in every week and spending time with me. Sometimes hours with the after show. I'm grateful for every single little kindness that anyone and everyone has shared and given to me. That's a big deal. It takes a lot sometimes to give when you don't have. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the energy that and the ability to continue to get up every morning and be productive, however little or huge, how small or how profound it can be. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my connections, for connecting with all of you and connecting for all the good conversations that I've had that have challenged me, made me think, made me learn, and made me share, even in my vulnerabilities. But here's the trigger, and here's the trick, and here's the shadow side of it. I am grateful for everyone that has challenged me, put me down, told me that I can't do something. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for the adversity. Not saying I want any more, because I don't. I'm done. Let's face it. I'm done with too much adversity. However, I'm grateful for all of you that told me I wasn't good enough, or emulated that I wasn't good enough, or I couldn't do when I knew I could. Anyone and everyone. I'm grateful for that, because I wouldn't be as strong as I am today. I wouldn't be as pumped as I am today, and I wouldn't be sharing what I share today if it wasn't for the critics as well as the people that uplifted me. So let's think about that. Something to be grateful for. Grateful for the people that push you to your limits. And I'm grateful for that too. And Chrissy's grateful that her headset reaches 30 feet so she can go smoke in her garden, even though smoking is really not good for you. But I'm not judging. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. Now, Evangela is sharing, I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. And I agree with you completely. So in thinking about this, trying to maintain being as positive as possible and being as light as possible is really, really important. Being grateful, even though you have no reason to be grateful, find things. Try to uplift yourself and others when it's times of shadow and darkness. Even though the world today seems like it's going off, going wrong, chaotic, we still have things that we can be grateful for. We could be grateful for our family, whether they challenge us or love us. We could be grateful for our friends, our connections in the world. We could be grateful for technology, because I wouldn't be able to share right now if it wasn't for technology and the digital landscape of things. All of this makes a difference. So in looking at it, this is why the topic of gratitude came up, because it was that challenging. It was that difficult for me to actually be grateful. So I had to push myself and do it and put this out here today. And Chris is saying you can also be grateful for the freedom of lacking connections and go find new ones, as you are not bound to the ones you don't have. Exactly. Reaching out and going into places that are uncharted, connections that are uncharted too. You can be grateful for that too. And I'm grateful for that. I enjoy meeting people every day. If I'm out, I talk to all kinds of strange people, whether I know them or not. I learn something new every day. And that's something else to be grateful for. So in thinking about this, and in closing and in summary with all this and the power of gratitude, there is always something to be grateful for. And it's not just the little things. They're big things too. But they could be surrounded or buried under a lot of adversity. So find that gift amongst the chaos. It's important. Now, Evangelos is saying, understanding this gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It makes sense of our past, and it brings peace to today and creates a vision for tomorrow. And I couldn't say that better myself, Evangelos. Being in a higher vibration and always working on trying to be the best you can. And I'm not saying sugarcoating anything, because I am not the type of person to sugarcoat anything. I'm real. However, finding the good in the chaos and working it and building on it, that really matters, because a brick, you connect a brick to another brick to another brick and you have a house. So if we do that, that's going to make a big, huge difference. So that is really, really important. So I challenge you to start a gratitude journal. Well, today it is kind of like that, but with better quality, and it doesn't like knock off too quickly. But I'm also on Periscope as well. Yeah. Now, Chrissy's saying, my friends sometimes ask me to sugarcoat things, and I say that was me sugarcoating. Yeah, like I can't. I just can't. I don't sugarcoat anything, because you know what? I'm not going to be told afterwards that I wasn't real. Oh, you didn't tell me that it was that bad? Well, there's using tact, though. And you could use tact. You can use tact. You don't want to be tactless and hurtful. But to sugarcoat things, it just takes more effort. And I'd rather utilize things in a different way, in a conducive way, in a productive way, in a helpful way. So that's really important. And Chris must be grateful for donuts. That's something to be grateful for. I was definitely grateful for my coffee this morning. That's for sure, because I really needed it this morning to just get my brain synapses going. So truly, try to find the gratitude in your life. Try to find the gratitude in your connections and in what's going on. Look past the adversity, because I know it's hard. Try to find that. Try to find that silver lining amongst the chaos, amongst the storm. That could be huge. So now, thinking about that, practice. Try to be as compassionate as you can. Try to look beyond what you see, feel, hear, and touch, because there's more out there. There's more to experience. There's more to share. There's more to learn. There's more to teach out there in the world. So if you really think about it that way, practicing gratitude, I can almost guarantee it's going to make things a little bit better, even if it's remotely. you know? So think about that. I challenge you to try to find the good in the chaos. Try it every day, a little bit. Amongst the adversity, try to find some spot of good and watch it build. And I can guarantee that's going to happen. But I want to thank all of you. So I'm going to close it up. I want to thank all of you for spending time with me here on Insight with Moonshadow. And it's all of you that do inspire me to do this work and to keep doing this show every week. So I thank you for coming here and sharing your thoughts and your vulnerabilities and your stories. I appreciate, because I learn from you no different than you learn from me. We share all these stories and these difficulties and these little shiny spots in our lives as well. So I appreciate all of it and all of you. So as I say every week, be strong, be amazing, and be you. Catch you on the flip and see you next time.